it's me, Mimi Combs, and today I'm going to go through all of the movies that I watched in the theaters during 2019. Before we get started, I'd just like to say a quick Happy New Year's, everyone. Hopefully your 2019 went great, but good luck in the 2020s. I'll be having my computer out during this video just so I can keep track of all the movies that I've already talked about. I have them in order of when I saw them, and I also have ratings from 0 to 10. Since last year, I think my ratings have become maybe a little bit more harsh. It's simply because I would like to use full numbers. They're just rated in relation to each other. For clarification, if you're looking to compare between movies, please look at what I wrote instead of what I said because I'm critical of movies I liked more. So keep that in mind when I'm reading them. There's some movies that I might have as like a 6, but they're really fun movies to watch still. It's just maybe not like the best option out of all of the ones I've seen. If you don't remember, last year I totaled at 51 movies in the theaters. This year I broke my record and I watched 55 movies. So that's more than one movie per week, but in general just like one movie per week. First of all, I saw Mortal Engines. I gave this one a 6 out of 10 because although the concept was really interesting, I didn't think it transferred that well into the movie, and I don't think the movie was that well done. Second, I saw Escape Room, and though I'm not too familiar with thrillers, I didn't think this one was done too well, and it wasn't that fun to watch. Next was The Upside. I gave that one an 8 out of 10 because I thought the characters were great, the story was interesting, and it was really funny. Next, A Star is Born. Definitely a really classic movie, and the critics seem to love it. I enjoyed it, but it is kind of intense and for adult audiences. The Kid Who Would Be King, I gave it a 6 out of 10. Although it's just a fun movie, especially if you have kids, I would recommend you watch this one. Next is Green Book. I gave it a 10 out of 10 because I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was really deserving of the Oscar for Best Picture that it got last year. Next was Stan and Ollie. I gave it a 5 out of 10 because I thought it was kind of boring, honestly, but it was still okay. I mean, all these movies were good and I enjoyed most of them. Lego Movie 2, I gave it a 7 out of 10. I thought it was quite good, but the first one was still better. I Want to Eat Your Pancreas is kind of like an anime movie. I gave that one a 7 out of 10. I thought it was pretty good, pretty emotional, and it reminded me a lot of Your Lie in April. Alita Battle Angel, I gave a 7 out of 10 because I thought the action was interesting and the plot, again, was good, but it didn't have enough and it didn't feel like a complete story. Fighting with My Family, I gave an 8 out of 10 because I thought it was a really good movie, but it wasn't something I was already interested in, so it probably didn't have the biggest impact on me that it could have. Isn't It Romantic? I gave a 6 out of 10 because it was just like a comedy movie and it didn't have much depth to it. Captain Marvel, I gave it an 8 out of 10 because I thought it was pretty good, but it's not my favorite Marvel movie, so I still have it underneath the other ones that came out this year. I gave How to Train Your Dragon a 7 out of 10 because I thought it was okay, but How to Train Your Dragon isn't my favorite series, and I think that this finale was not the best installment of all of the movies. 5 Feet Apart, I gave a 5 out of 10 because I thought it was just kind of cheesy, but it is a good feel-good movie if you're just bored and want to watch a teen romance. Wonderland, I gave a 5 out of 10 because it seemed like a very surface level and just like childish movie. I think if you have kids, they would probably enjoy this, but other than that, it's not really one for the older folks. Shazam, I gave a 9 out of 10 because I really love superhero movies to begin with, and this one had a lot of comedy in it, and I thought it was a really good idea and concepts. Dumbo, I gave a 6 out of 10 because I think just in general, Disney live-action remakes aren't that great, but I still love Disney, so it's still a good classic Dumbo story. Best of Enemies, I gave an 8 out of 10 because I thought it was really, really interesting, and it gets you really invested in this historical story and you learn a lot. Little, I gave a 7 out of 10 because it didn't seem that great, but it was a pretty funny movie and I found myself laughing at times, so it's just light. Avengers Endgame, I gave a 10 out of 10 because I just thought it had so much in it, it had so much to cover, and it had everything, and I was just so impressed with it. It was just a great ending to Phase 3. I gave Ugly Dolls a 7 out of 10 because although it had some really catchy songs in it and good voice actors, the story seemed very predictable and basic. The next movie I watched was Penguins, the Disney nature movie, and I gave it a 5 out of 10 because it was really boring. I kind of almost fell asleep during it, but if you're into nature docs or just want something to put on the background, this might be something that you could put on. Next, I saw Pokemon Detective Pikachu, and I gave it a 9 out of 10 because the whole film I was so excited to see all of the Pokemon in like live action. It was all really, really cool and I had fun. Although the story was quite predictable, I still think that it was just a fun time and it was fine with me. The Sun is Also a Star, I gave a 6 out of 10 because I did think the book was a lot better, and a lot of these teen movies don't transfer as well into their film counterparts. However, if you are looking for one of those teen romance films, this one is a possibility. Next, I saw the live-action Aladdin, and I gave that one an 8 out of 10 because I think Naomi Scott did an amazing job in her role as Jasmine, and I really enjoyed her new song in this movie. It added a lot of depth to her character, and I think it adds to the story, unlike some other Disney live-action remakes. Next, I saw Booksmart, and I gave it a 7 out of 10 because there were some parts of the comedy that I didn't really understand and it was kind of uncomfortable for me. But the overall concept of the movie was pretty interesting. Next, I saw Rocketman, and I gave that one a 10 out of 10 because I thought the music was good and I really enjoyed the story as well. I did not know much about Elton John prior to this movie, and I thought that seeing the music in an interesting way and not just like in the past with Bohemian Rhapsody, it had actual like musical numbers in it, like it felt like a musical, which I think made me like it more. Dark Phoenix I gave a 6 out of 10 because although I may be biased against X-Men movies, I don't think this one had too much going for it. It was all very single focused on Dark Phoenix as this person. I didn't enjoy it that much, and maybe it's because I do not know the characters as well as other people might, but just keep that in mind. Next, I saw Godzilla, and I gave it a 6 out of 10. There's something about monsters fighting each other that just doesn't make me want to root for them. It doesn't make me excited to watch like action between two huge monsters, and I don't know what they're called, titans in this case. Next, I saw Secret Life of Pets, and I gave it a 6 out of 10. If you have children, I'm sure they would enjoy this movie. It has a great message in it. However, it just seems kind of predictable, and you know, that's just how most kids' movies are. Next, I saw Blend in Black International, and I gave it a 7 out of 10 because I thought it was pretty good. I didn't have high expectations coming into this movie at all, so when it was actually okay, I was actually surprised, and so I gave it a 7 out of 10. Next, I saw Toy Story 4, and I gave it an 8 out of 10 because although Toy Story is amazing and I love all the Disney characters, especially in Pixar movies, they're really great, this one was really focused on Woody, and I think it could have been better if they had just put in like other characters and not just had it focused on Woody. Of course, Sporky is really great, and I love Sporky, and that was one of the great things in this movie. But yeah, they could have done better. Next, I saw Spider-Man Far From Home, and I gave that one a 10 out of 10 because I had a great time in the theater. I really loved the movie. It personally may be because I'm a huge fan of Spider-Man movies. I think I probably gave the previous Spider-Man movie a 10 out of 10, but this one was really great, and I highly recommend you watch it, especially if you watched Marvel movies in the past. Oh, I'm sorry if I'm talking super fast, but oh, it's so long. There's so many movies here. There's 55 of them. How am I supposed to read all this? Next, I saw Yesterday, and I gave it a 7 out of 10 because when I originally came out of the theater, I didn't really like it that much, and I thought it was like okay, but over time I've seen like it's pretty good. Like the plot's good, and I've heard good things from other people, so maybe I'm just confused and I didn't pay good attention to the movie or something. The comedic stuff was pretty funny, but it's just like pretty light, and it's not a drama really. So next, I saw Wild Rose, and I gave it an 8 out of 10. This movie was definitely like a good movie. I could tell there's good things in like the acting and everything like that. It's definitely more serious of a film, so you know, keep that in mind, and it's for adult audiences mostly. The character development in this film was really nice, but you know, it wasn't the most exciting. Next, I saw the live-action Lion King, and I gave that one a 5 out of 10 because I think the original was better. The live-action lions, they're not even live-action, and they don't emote right, and it just doesn't feel the same and doesn't impact me emotionally in the same way the original did. Next, I saw The Farewell, and I gave it an 8 out of 10. Awkwafina's acting was really good in this, and I think it was really like emotional and comedic, and it was a good balance of the two, and I think it was really great, and you learn to love the characters in it. Also, the fact that it's inspired by a true story is pretty good too. It's like, I didn't know it until the end. I was like, oh my gosh, this is real. Next, I saw Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw, and I gave that one a 6 out of 10 because I think it was a good action movie, to be fair. Like, they had lots of fighting in it, and I haven't watched Fast and Furious movies in the past. There's a good back and forth between Hobbs and Shaw in it that kind of adds for some comedic effect, but nothing that I was too excited for, you know? Next, I saw Dora and the Lost City of Gold. I gave that one an 8 out of 10 because I thought it was going to be really bad, but it was actually really good, and I thought it was really funny. I would recommend you watch this one for sure. Although it has a lower rating than some of my other movies, I think this one's just like a fun watch. If you watched Dora when you were little, like it can be enjoyed by people that are older too, and I think kids would like it too. It's like a great movie for everyone. Next, I saw Blinded by the Light, and I gave this one a 7 out of 10. I thought the story itself was really good, the characters were interesting, and it was different. It was definitely not your typical kind of teenager movie, and his family is a minority in London, so that it's good to get some diversity and like different backgrounds in this one. Next, I watched Peanut Butter Falcon and I gave this one a 10 out of 10. I thought it was amazing. I really liked this one and I would love to rewatch it sometime. It was really emotional but also like funny, and just I love the characters in it. I would recommend you to watch the trailers for this one because it's kind of like indie film. I'm not sure if it's an indie film or anything, but it's definitely more artsy than some of the other films. Next, I saw Abominable and I gave it a 7 out of 10, and I would recommend this one especially because just in general watching the movie, like, it had a good message, it had good characters, it had like good music, and I think if you have a child who would really appreciate this, you should watch it. If not, it's not something to go out of your way and watch. Next is Judy, and I gave that one an 8 out of 10. I thought the character was really great and she did a really good job acting as Judy Garland. So after that movie, it was really interesting. I really enjoyed learning more about her as a person. Next, I saw Maleficent, the Mistress of Evil, and I gave that one a 7 out of 10. I thought it was really good when I watched it, but it wasn't exciting and it's not something that stuck with me long after I left the theaters, so that's why it kind of got knocked down a score a little bit. But I think you should definitely go out and watch it if you watch the first Maleficent. It's really worth it. Next, I saw The Joker and I gave it an 8 out of 10 because although it's been getting all this Oscar hype and it seems like it's a really great movie and it broke all these billion-dollar records and stuff, I still think I didn't enjoy it that much because it's kind of depressing and it kind of, I don't know, it's just not a fun movie. If you're into those kind of dark movies, like this one's for you. If not, I would stay with like more the feel-good, the comedy route. Next, I saw Harriet and I gave it a 6 out of 10. I thought it was pretty good, especially as a historical movie. However, it's nothing amazing. I mean, like, it's really good if you don't know the history already, but if you do know the history, it can be a little bit bland. The next movie I watched is Last Christmas. I gave it a 6 out of 10 because it was like okay and nothing really exciting or amazing happened. But it's just a good Christmas movie, especially with all of the terrible made-for-TV Christmas movies. This one's pretty good. If you have all those options, this one's definitely a tier above those. Next, I saw Charlie's Angels. I gave it a 7 out of 10 because I really enjoyed it after leaving the theater. It was just a lot of fun, but maybe that's just me with like the comment and stuff because my mom really didn't enjoy it like at all and almost fell asleep. So I'm not really sure if it's that great or if it's just me. For each their own. Next, I saw Frozen 2. I gave it an 8 out of 10 because I thought the music was really good. You know, all I feel like I saw in that movie was Elsa, and originally Elsa was not my favorite character. I really liked Anna and I liked a lot of the other stuff that was happening. When the movie ended, I did say like, is that all? Is that really the end? I was kind of like surprised that nothing more happened. But other than that, I think it's a great film. Next, I saw A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. I gave that one a 6 out of 10 because I thought it was actually pretty boring. Nice character stuff happened. It was a great movie, you know, it was good, but I was bored. It's really hard when you have all good movies and you're trying to like criticize them, you know? The next movie I saw is Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. I gave this one an 8 out of 10 because I thought it was a really great fan service movie. End of the trilogy. Closure. It was just pretty good. I really enjoyed it. However, I've heard a lot of criticism on it and it definitely took a whole nother turn from Last Jedi, which I liked, but it was kind of jarring. Next, I saw Jumanji: The Next Level and I gave this one a 7 out of 10. I really enjoyed it in the theater. However, it's not something that sticks with you afterwards. It's just like good comedy and you can only really watch that once. Next, I saw Ford vs. Ferrari. I gave this one an 8 out of 10. I thought it was really great movie-wise and acting-wise. However, it's not the most exciting thing to watch a 24-hour car race, but this movie made me like, yes, go. Next, I saw Jojo Rabbit. I gave this one a 9 out of 10. I think the concept is really sensitive. However, I personally cannot speak on that sort of thing. I just know that I really enjoyed it and I think it did a good job of balancing on that line between like dark humor but like also serious, and I think that it did a really good job on that. That's all 55 movies that I watched this year. I hope you enjoyed my review, and after this I really hope that you watch some of those movies. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know down below your favorite list for your 2019 movies, if you've seen a lot of them, or just like what some of your opinions are on some of the ones I talked about, if they're different, if they're the same, because I know my opinions are based on my reaction to the movie. They're not based on how good the movie is, and I'm sure if I put this into like Rotten Tomatoes, like the reviews would be so different. I'm really sorry, there was just a whole camera mishap and my camera is out of storage, so I'm gonna have to be saying goodbye really quickly. Bye bye, have a great year.